I'm Tony. He's Mike, and we're here to do a quick and dirty on streaming on HBO Max, straight to theaters if you like your COVID, and stay at home and watch it if you don't. The Suicide Squad. James Gunn says fuck you to Disney and Marvel and heads on over to Warner Brothers and DC. Whoa!
Hey, if you're vaccinated, do your thing. Whatever. So, anyways, for me, this was by far the best DCU movie that I have seen. Now, having said that, though, it's also the lesser of the Guardian movies that I have seen. It's still very fun. I had a good time watching this movie. James Gunn did a great job, as he always does, of taking quirky characters that shouldn't work on paper, but yet he makes them work, he makes them compelling, makes them relatable, and you like fall in love with these goofy characters. I don't know how he does it, but he fucking does it. DC would probably do themselves a huge favor by pilfering more of the better Marvel directors. There's some shitty ones, but there's some really good ones too.
Oh yeah.
So do yourself a favor, steal those guys. Do some more movies with them. I think for the DC fan, which you are of, so you can tell me if I'm way off base or not. I think it has most of the things that the DC fans are looking for. It's got the gore, it's got the violence, because the DC universe is supposed to be the darker of the two comic book universes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it has all the good rated R stuff that you want. It's there. But yet it's well balanced. There's plenty of humor. There's plenty of gore. I laughed several times this film, and believe me, when I saw the trailers for this thing, I was like, oh my fucking God. Here we go again. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be total shit fest. I was happily surprised by this movie. I may watch it again, maybe. which is saying a lot for me, because I'm not a DC kind of guy. But again, I kind of dug this, and also there's no messaging in this film, which I think a lot of people would appreciate. I recommend.
Well, color me kind of like, whoa, didn't see that one coming. To be honest, it's actually nice to get a Suicide Squad movie that actually watches like reading a Suicide Squad story is. And I love that they like pulled out the most fucking obscure characters. James Gunn really does love his obscure comic book
Yes, he does.
Characters. The ones that like showed up one issue in 1976.
Yeah,
for
Polka Dot Man. Fuck if I know. Who's the Rat Master too? Fuck if I know. I don't know who any of these characters are except for Harley Quinn. I have no idea. Love the movie.
I was gonna say, honestly, I was familiar with a lot of these characters. King Shark has been a lot of Suicide Squad stuff. I was glad that they didn't, and I'm not saying anything about Will Smith. I'm not saying anything about Deadshot, but it's like, the funny thing about this, and what I really kind of appreciate, is James Gunn was putting the point on the fact that, yeah, there are so many fucking characters that have this exact same ability and have this exact same backstory, and the only difference between any of them is their costumes. And I love that James Gunn is just pointing out, yeah, we don't need Will Smith to come back. There's 50 other characters in the DC universe that are just like him. So kudos to James Gunn for getting it, number one. Number two, Margot Robbie, she owns Harley Quinn at this point. No matter, I've loved her characterization of the character, and I'm a big fan of Batman the Animated Series, which is where the character originated from. And she was supposed to be a throwaway character when they cooked her up, but she's kind of stuck around. And again, she's perfect in the role. I love how she plays Harley Quinn, and I did like Birds of Prey. I
didn't care for Birds of Prey.
I was not a fan of the first Suicide Squad because I read the source material that one was based on, and man, they butchered that story in the editing room. But I don't fault anybody but Warner Brothers, because they took the footage away from the director and threw it to the company that cut the trailer together and said, "Edit our film."
Suicide Squad was so bad for me. I tried watching that thing 3 times. I never made it past 30 minutes ever. I don't think I made it past 20 minutes ever watching that piece of shit.
And I don't fault you. I've seen it twice. Once to see it, and then once to go, was it really as bad as I thought? And the answer that yes, it was. So I was thrilled that when I heard James Gunn was doing this, because this, you could tell this is what James Gunn wanted to be doing. And if you doubt that, go back and watch Super by James Gunn, which is his self-owned, creator-owned superhero story about a man in a red jumpsuit with a wrench trying to get his wife back from a mobster. If you don't think this is what James Gunn wanted to do the whole time, you're out of your mind. It's all there in the DNA. James Gunn wanted to do Suicide Squad. And you could tell that he really does love all these characters, and he loves killing almost all of these characters too. I have to say one thing though, and this is a mild spoiler. I was really kind of upset when Polka Dot Man bought it at the end of the film.
I was too. I was thinking Polka Dot Man. I was rooting for him, dude. I was like, yeah, you're a superhero. Oh, man.
I'm not going to say I didn't laugh. I'm not going to say I didn't laugh my ass off, but I was just kind of like, oh, I was hoping he'd be in the next one.
You know what else I enjoyed in this? I actually enjoyed John Cena's character quite a bit in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people give John Cena shit. You know, it's like, they can't act. Well, if you give him the right director, he does very well in this movie. And I really love, okay, spoilers. I think my favorite scene in this movie is when they go into what they think is the enemy camp. They shoot up all the motherfuckers and they find Rick Flag. It's like, yeah, the resistance is right outside. Oh, that's so good. Oh my God, that was so good.
My favorite line in the movie came from John Cena, now that you bring it up. And it is when they are walking into the camp and they're killing who they think is the enemy.
Yeah, same scene.
And he goes, I'm here to defend truth and justice in the American way, and I'll kill as many men, women, and children as it takes to do it. He delivers that with such weird sincerity. And I'm laughing so hard after that one. I love the pissing contest between him and Idris Elba to see who can do the coolest shot. Yes. And I also love that after they clear out the whole camp, and he's like, you know, he says something like, nobody likes to show off, and he's like, except for when what they're showing off is cool as hell. And he's like, shit, he's right. You know? The dialogue in this is genuinely funny. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't. Everything in this movie feels earned, and that's what I really liked about it. There's no wasted space in this. There's no filler in this one. It is a lean, tight, well-crafted, fun ride that you just go on, and it's got a pretty groovy soundtrack too. To be honest, I'm not.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not quite Guardians good, but it's pretty damn good.
And something I found out was apparently James Gunn writes his music into his scripts when he's writing the actual scripts. He's like, here's this line in the song, and here's what's happening for this line in the song. So none of it's accidental. He knows exactly what he's making before he's ever shot a single frame of film or ever stepped into an editing bay. He's not like trying to edit to a cool song that he found on YouTube last week and he thinks it'll just work for that scene. No, he's got a vision and he goes for it 110%.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I like about soundtracks is they're very like Tarantino. Like you said, you know, this song suits this vibe that's going on in this scene, instead of this song is telling you what's going on in this scene, which happened in the previous movie we reviewed, Gunpowder Milkshake.
Exactly. So no, you're absolutely right on that. The music choices are more about tone and mood and not on the nose as to the action that you're seeing on screen. No, that's a solid point. You're absolutely correct on that one. I don't know. All I can say is this right here, in my mind, is the best movie that we've watched on a streaming service this summer.
It is.
And that's the highest praise that I can give it. Of all the movies that we have watched on streaming services so far this year, this is the only one that I actually would have paid to go see in a theater. and it is so worth it, and I'm so glad that it got released straight to streaming services. I'm glad that it's doing well in foreign box office and in domestic box office, and I'm glad that it's doing really well on streaming. And I'm glad that Warner Brothers already said, "Hey, James Gunn, whatever you want to do next, here's a check." So that's a done deal.
And it should have been. And I love to hear you say that because, because here you are loving a Marvel film that's really a DC film, but it's really a Marvel film.
Actually, I'm gonna disagree with you.
This is
definitely
this is Guardians of the Galaxy with a different fucking cast. That's all this is. And you can deny it all you want, but that's exactly what it is. I'm sorry, it is. You like Marvel as long as it has a DC label on it. At least James Gunn, Marvel.
No, I'm gonna say this, and I don't think that it's me having a prejudice. I think it's
it is.
James. No. James Gunn has a very particular kind of comic book that he likes. Mm-hmm. And I think that he likes the Suicide Squad, and I think that he likes Guardians of the Galaxy, and it comes from the fact that he likes weird ass obscure source material. I love Super. I am okay with the first Guardians film. I'm not a huge fan of it. The second Guardians film I did enjoy. This, I think, however, is the movie that he wanted to make because nobody told him that he had to make a PG film and he could do whatever the fuck he wanted with it. And that's exactly what he did. Yeah. So there you go.
For me, the only real difference between this and Guardians is the gore. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But again, I have no problem with it. I like this movie. So it's a happy day in Tony Greco world. Mike likes a DC movie. Here we go. Happy birthday, sir.
Well played, man. Well played. It's the best gift you could have gotten me. Suicide Squad, click the fuck out of it. I have no idea. Oh, Space Sweepers is coming next. This is a weird one because it was shot in 2019. It was supposed to be released in 2020, and then it was released straight to Netflix this year, and it was dropped a couple weeks back. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah, that's what we're doing it, and it's our first international quick and dirty. So,
get exotic.
So,
all right. Well, we'll see you guys the next time.